Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about the project geometry feature. In the previous videos, as we did some of the exercises, we used the project geometry feature a few times, but we didn't go into much detail. It is an extremely important feature and it is commonly used not only in Autodesk Inventor, but also in many other software. They may be called something different, but they do the same job. But every time you hear project geometry, that means we are taking advantage of an existing geometry. And that's why it falls under a kind of a weird category. It's not really under the sketch mode. It's not really under the 3D modeling mode. It's somewhere in between, or it's kind of both. Um, so that's why we're covering that video right now before we talk about other 3D modeling features. Like I said, it's about taking advantage of an existing geometry. And right now we are in the part mode and there is no geometry in this endless space. So we cannot project any geometry right now. But as we create a sketch, let's say on an XY plane, we draw a rectangle from this origin point, finish that sketch, and we apply an extrusion, 10 mm extrusion. And now we have this basic 3D model. And now we created a 3D object, and this object has faces, edges, and corners. And we can take advantage of these geometries. We can take advantage of this to modify this 3D object. For example, let's say I'm looking at this face, and let's say I create a sketch on that face. And for whatever reason, my goal is to cut a triangular shape out of this material. So I want to draw a triangle here. Well, for a triangle, I have to draw 3 lines. I have to make sure that they align with the existing geometry. I have to make sure that they are constrained and they're consistent, or I can project geometry. So as I click on the line option, as my create line is active, as I hover on this horizontal line, notice that Inventor highlights that line with bold black color, which means that Inventor understands that I want to take advantage of that edge in my new sketch. So I am creating a line here, and again, touching this vertical line, and now Inventor understands that I want to use that vertical line as well, and I finish my line. Now, as I get out of the command, notice that horizontal and vertical lines are highlighted with yellow color. I didn't have to draw 3 lines. I took advantage of existing geometries. Now all I have to do is dimension it. Let's say this is 10 mm and this is 5 mm. Now 5 by 10 triangle is created here. Let's finish this 2D sketch and extrude that. Let's cut and through all so it removes all the material on its path. Now I created this kind of chamfer, this slant on this 3D object, but I took advantage of the existing designs. So now let's look at it in a different example. Let's say I want to create a sketch on this face now. And I can do the same thing, right? I can select create line and hover on this line here. Now it is recognized as a geometry that I want to take advantage of. Now I touch this line on the right and I finish the line and get out of that command. Now the line on the left and the line on the right are projected. Inventor helped me project those geometries for me, so I don't have to redraw them. But notice that I could not project this geometry on the top because I could not touch it with my cursor as I was drawing the line. I can always select project geometry and select that line individually. Now it is a closed geometry. I can dimension this line. Let's say it is 7 mm away from this top horizontal line, and I can finish that sketch. Now, notice that these yellow lines indicate that those are projected geometries. I took advantage of the existing 3D object to create a new sketch. I didn't have to redraw everything, and I am ensuring that everything is aligned. So now I can apply a modeling action, 3D modeling action to it. Say that it is 50 mm of an extrusion here. And now let's draw a circle here and cut through that circle and create a hole. Let's say I want to create a sketch on this surface. And I can also use project geometry. I can access project geometry on the right click menu here. And I can, yes, select every line individually, but also I can select the entire face. And that way I can project all 4 lines at the same time. Now I'm going to draw a circle here. Let's take advantage of the midpoints so it's completely in the middle. So it is right here to here. And now let's dimension it. It's going to be an odd dimension because this slanted section, we selected an odd dimension there. So whatever it is, and let's call it 5 mm diameter. And now we've finished that sketch, and now we can cut through that hole, cut through all. Okay, now we have this hole here in the middle. So now let's continue to modify it. This time, let's work on this face. We are looking at that face directly now, and I want to project that face. I want to project this face, and I want to project this face. Now I'm going to move the design a little bit so we can look at it from the side. Notice that we have this angled face here, but as I projected it, now it is on this work plane I'm working on, this which is a flat surface that I'm working on. And it just projected that section for me. I can take advantage of these edges. But at the same time, as I'm projecting this section, it also projected that hole for me. So I can take advantage of all these geometries, and I can save a lot of time and make sure everything is aligned. So now let's finish that 2D sketch and extrude. I can select this section, which is a closed geometry, this section, and this section. Let's say this time it is 5 mm of an extrusion. Notice that I created this geometry by just taking advantage of the initial geometry I created. And that saved me a lot of time and made sure that everything is aligned. Now I know that this hole is completely aligned with this hole at the bottom. So now let's delete this final extrusion and maybe just modify the geometry, not only project it, but also after we project the geometry, let's kind of add a few more maybe circles and rectangles and lines, and so we can modify the sketch and we can extrude that too. So let's delete this extrusion and create a new sketch here again. Let's just project those faces, and this time let's work on this work plane. So let's look at it directly from the top using the view cube. Let's say we want to draw one circle here, another circle here, and let's say these circles are 3 mm diameters. They kind of moved around, but I can always drag and move them back to where they were. And let's say they are 6 mm away from this circle in the middle. And also, they are 12 mm. They are, let's use it like this, 6 mm here. Let's delete this, and 12 mm again, and then also 6 mm away from this circle in the middle. Now let's finish the sketch and extrude this side, this side, this side, but I don't want to extrude the hole in the middle. I want to extrude these two. I want to have a hole there. So now I completed the design. This time, I wanted to, for whatever reason, I wanted to create two holes, but I wanted to use this hole as a reference geometry. I just didn't automatically extrude it. I could have just extruded that as I did it in that previous example. But this time, I just used that as a sketch. I maybe want to create something else here for whatever reason, but I want to make sure that it is not going to interfere with the hole in the middle. I just want to use that as a reference point. So I can continue to create sketches. As I'm creating the sketches, I can take advantage of the existing geometries. That ensures that my 3D model is consistent and it saves me time and everything is aligned. And in the future, we're going to continue to use 3D project geometry features in the 3D modeling mode. But at the same time, project geometry feature is very important in the assembly mode too. And we're going to cover all of that in the following videos, but just a quick preview of that. Imagine I'm creating an assembly and I have some existing parts and I want to create another part, but I want to make sure that that part is consistent with all the other parts in the assembly. So I can use project geometry feature to take advantage of existing components and parts and edges and corners and faces of those parts to create a part that aligns with the rest of the assembly in a perfect way. So that way, like I said, in project geometry kind of falls under a weird category. It can be used in assemblies and it can be used in the 3D modeling mode, but it is used to create sketches. And that's why we wanted to cover that in this video. And in the following videos, we're going to go into more details with the 3D modeling features. See you in the next videos. Thank you.